Hi everyone, we're very honored to have with us Dr. Philipp Plugmann at Woxsen University today. Dr. Philipp Plugmann is an expert in the area of innovations in healthcare. He has written a variety of books spanning over areas like digitalization, innovation, sustainability, and he has done his executive education from Harvard Business School and is currently a full professor of interdisciplinary periodontology and prevention at SRH University of Applied Health Sciences, and he's also a professor of practice at the School of Business, Woxsen University. Today, Professor Philipp Plugmann is on a visit to Woxsen, and as part of the Professor of Practice initiative, he is here to talk about his journey and deliver a special masterclass for the management students, both at the undergraduate and the postgraduate level, talking about innovations in healthcare and how the sector has changed and has got impacted post COVID-19, and how do we see the industry going forward. So it's an honor to have you with us, Professor Philipp Plugmann. I would like to have some initial remarks from your end.
Yeah, so thank you for the invitation. I'm very honored to be here. I spent the whole day here and met a lot of fantastic administration and faculty members, highly motivated students from different MBA classes, and while we had this fantastic campus tour, I have a feeling that it's really a big and very fast-growing campus, and congratulations, I'm really impressed.
Thank you so much, Professor Philipp Plugmann. My very first question to you as part of this interview is, you have written a couple of your books on innovations in healthcare. So how do you see this industry changing from what it was 20 years or 30 years down the, in the past, to how do we see that sector changing post COVID-19? I'm sure there's been a lot of changes. So you can tell us more about that.
Yeah, so we have different levels. One level is the information or the access to information through the patients in our times. While 30 years ago, the patients really had just the physicians and the staff as a source of information about diseases, prevention, diagnosis, therapy. Today, the patients can get a lot of information from the World Wide Web, and the customer centricity and the customer experience is on a different level. The patients expect more, and especially the requirements or the possibilities to live longer interests a lot of patients, means also that prevention is coming to a new era, because the people understand that through prevention they have a chance to live longer and get also a higher quality of life when they're getting older.
Awesome. Well, that's interesting. In fact, you have also mentioned about how does the startup ecosystem across the world has changed, and especially you have written a book on innovations, creating that innovation space. Yeah. So if you can just tell us some highlights of what you have mentioned in that book.
Yeah, so absolutely. A few books I wrote together as a co-editor with Professor Patrick Launer, who is also a professor here. And he is one of the youngest AI professors in Europe. He is also consulting the German and French government. And we had a talk together about innovation ecosystems. And I told him at that time that I was at that time, 2-3 years ago, I was for 15 years visiting different innovation hubs really on the whole planet. I mean, Harvard, MIT, Berkeley, Stanford, conferences in Silicon Valley, but also Tokyo, Singapore, Bangkok, Mumbai, South Africa, Israel, Europe, and so on. So I tried always to identify what are the success factors of those innovation hubs, because I was expecting to find a special element that we don't have seen maybe in Europe or Germany. But after 15 years, I can say at the end of the day, beside of maybe more venture capital and a higher risk element in some nations, it all depends on the mindset of the people and how they interact and how they try to make a better world, especially in healthcare. And this was also an interesting conclusion and good news, that at the end of the day, it depends on the individuals who are willing to take risk and also invest all the money and all the time for a lot of years to materialize an idea that they have. And this persistence, this resilience, even to go through crisis times, this is the key factor. So it's the people, the individuals, and the mindset of the society to develop new companies and help the companies to grow.
Absolutely. I mean, I totally agree. And especially if you look at India, we are a young, dynamic country where if you look at Woxsen, for instance, at our university, we have an incubation center called the Trade Tower, where students and faculties are focusing on incubating the startup ideas of students and promoting that, because, of course, India is one of the largest technology hubs. So, in that kind of an environment, I believe we have a lot to witness post the pandemic. And in fact, your addition in our family as the chair professor in the area of sustainability and corporate social responsibility, where you're holding a chair in the honor of Professor Bobby Banerjee at Bayes Business School in the UK. So, if you could tell us more about what is your roadmap when it comes to the initiatives that you have in mind and you would like to work along with Woxsen? So, if you could tell us more.
I think, and this is also one of the topics of some of the 12 books I edited in the last years, that we have to be very conscious about technology, technological innovation and social innovation. So they have to go hand in hand. We have always to have to think about the values for society, and we have always to think how does this innovations, technological innovations affect the society by itself. So we have to bring value to society, and sustainability is, for me personally, not just the environment, not just the corporate social responsibility, but also the human beings by themselves. So because sometimes I have the feeling we talk just about air pollution, just about the climate and so on, and sometimes we forget that we by ourselves are part of the environment. So we have also to look on the social interactions and not let the technological innovations run away and forget about our society and the people we live all together. And especially in healthcare, we have also to look, I mean, things like working time, work intensity, vacations, education, healthcare in companies, what elements we can influence in a positive way to bring value to the society.
Absolutely. I mean, just to add on to that, I feel we have witnessed three, revolutions. First one was the Industrial Revolution, then came the Information Revolution, and then we have seen the Social Revolution, where if you look at Industrial Revolution, it was more about, the mechanical revolution part of the, things. But then you look at the Information Revolution, that is where people are talking about the standard of living. But the Social Revolution, which is now relevant, is now focusing more on the quality of life, sustainable living, and that is across sectors.
Absolutely.
So I totally agree with your points, and where you have mentioned in your book very pertinently that the concept of social revolution, or you call it the sustainable living, is something which is applicable across all the sectors. So with that note, my last question to you, Professor Plugmann, is you have, of course, traveled across the world, spoken to a lot of students, and have interacted with many faculties as well and companies too. So, what is your perspective when it comes to the bridge between industry and academia? How is that going to be bridged in the next, say, few years down the line? And what can institutions do to bring this industry and academia closer?
So I think that's a very interesting point, that the academia don't live for itself and the industry for itself, because at the end of the day, we want to bring products and services to the market and always have the sustainability and corporate social responsibility in mind. And it's important that we have meeting points, events, conferences, competitions, where industry and students and faculty come together and exchange their experiences, research results, and expectations. So they get more information from us, from the research side and the projects the students are working in, also in the different labs here. And on the other side, we get direct information from the industry, what they're working on, what they see in the future, and what they expect from future graduates. So we have like a big ecosystem, academia and industry, even if it's separated, the campus and the industry by itself. But I think the strong communication between research, academia, and industry bring a value to society and to the market.
Absolutely. I mean, research is, I would say, the bedrock of innovation, and that is what helps the industry and academia get closer. So, with that, I would like to know from you. You have, of course, today interacted with all the students and faculties at Woxsen. So, what is your message about Woxsen University to the world that you would like to tell? Because now you have an in-person visit.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this in-person visits because besides the digital communication, the best thing to have their own opinion and experience is to come and interact. So my conclusion is this is an outstanding campus. The concept is great, from the faculty, from the labs, through the sport environment and the activities on campus and the option to live here. It's also the concept of internationalization, bringing international people together here for the students, a big value to the students, because they can build their own opinion and experience hearing people from different countries, different companies. So I would say globally measured, this is one of the hot spots where if you want to have an education that is future-oriented, combined with innovation and a high qualification, this is the right place to be. I can very strongly recommend to come to Woxsen, and I feel after one day like home. And really, I had visited so many campuses. So for an intellectual mind with some future ideas, no matter which disciplinary you work, and also the interdisciplinary approach we live here in Woxsen, I have a very good feeling.
Well, thank you so much, Professor Plugmann. It is our pleasure to have you at Woxsen University campus. And we are looking forward to a very fruitful and a long-term association with you, and especially when it comes to teaching, research, and more on strategic projects which we can together build. Well, thank you once again. And with this, we come to the end of the interview, and we will be back with another professor very soon. Thank you.